Welcome back to APABI Focus for quarter 3. And this time we have Visal Sou, the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Banking and Finance in Cambodia. And so this Cambodia is, I think, one of our smaller APABI members compared to some of them which have large organizations. So I think I first want to give him a chance to just introduce your organizations and all that.
Thank you. I think it's a pleasure to be invited by APABI for the interview today. As for IBS Cambodia, we started off in 2016 under the initiative of the Association for Banking Cambodia. So our mandates are to improve corporate governance, standardize banking practices, and uplift the capacity of banking professionals to power the international standards. Since our establishment in 2016, we have offered local and international certification in core banking areas to the banking professionals in Cambodia, which is in line with the current and future needs of the skill demand in the banking sector. And this has been endorsed by both the association and also the central bank. I think we also work closely with the banks and financial institutions to develop programs tailored to their unique talent pool as well. And per our recent work, we have been focusing on responsible lending certification for all credit-related staff across the country. So this is for those staff, either you are the manager or you are the lending officer. As long as you work in credit-related field, you are to be certified in the responsible lending certification. This is to ensure that their ethics and responsible lending practices are in line with the principle of consumer protection standard, the global standard, as well as the code of conducts and lending guidelines in Cambodia. I think we are proud to say that over the past 8 years, we have empowered over 50,000 banking professionals in Cambodia in their transformation journey in the sector as well. And actually, this Friday, in the next 2 days, we are celebrating our 8th anniversary for IBF Cambodia.
So actually, that makes you one of the newer members of APABI. So that's interesting to learn. I understand that based on just reading the news, that one of the bigger issues that Cambodia is thinking about these days is financial stability. And I guess this all kind of ties back to the COVID pandemic. So maybe you could give us a little bit more background. Why don't you go ahead?
Sure. I think financial stability is a challenge for every country, not only Cambodia. If you look at the pandemic, it is actually the good cause for digital transformation in the banking sector in Cambodia. I think I can recall in the past few years before COVID-19, when we want to transfer the money across the bank, when we want to withdraw the money, we have to go to the physical branch of the bank in order to do so. Now, I think it has been, quite a convenience where everything can be done through the mobile phone. This has been one of the biggest transformative part in the banking sector in Cambodia, the movement to the digital banking and cashless payment in Cambodia. I think I may look at the financial stability in Cambodia from 3 different key players. The first one is the National Bank of Cambodia. Second one is the association. Third one are the banks and the financial institutions themselves. First, the National Bank of Cambodia has been very proactive in implementing, various measures in promoting the financial stability. I think they have strengthened the prudential regulation and supervision, enhanced risk management frameworks, promoted financial inclusion, and also improved the payment system. I'm sure you know that the Bakong system and the KQO, which started off in terms of making people become more convenient in transferring the money across the bank. I think what we call the Bakong system, which allows users with different banks to transfer the money to the other bank. For example, like if you have an account with Bank A and you want to transfer to your friends in Bank B, in the past you have to go to the bank. Now it can be done with the mobile phone. That's very convenient. And there is also the KAQR. I think actually Cambodia is the #1 fastest growing in terms of the KAQR users in the region as well. So with the backbone system, you can actually use your account with specific bank to scan and make payment across the other bank as well. This is very convenient. Like right now, myself, I think in Cambodia, it would be very surprising to see people carrying a lot of cash around. Normally, they carry like little amount and they depend mostly on their mobile phone for the payment transactions.
So it's moving towards a cashless society.
Yes. And for the effort by the central bank, they also conduct regular financial stability review to monitor and assess the financial health as well. And I think for the association and the bank themselves, they have been working very closely with the central bank to ensure that the initiative by the central bank has been fully implemented across the country as well.
Okay, so and then I guess, of course, when we think about all these payment systems, one thing that comes to mind, or especially with the broader trend of digitalization, we need to think more and more about cybersecurity. And I guess this is another one of the things that your institute has focused on training, and I think the country as a whole is thinking about improving. So can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, I agree with that because if you look at the cybersecurity, digital transformation, cybersecurity is a relatively new field, essential for Cambodia. And I think both the central bank and also the association has been paying a lot of attention. They are at the forefront of this transformation in promoting the cashless future and empowering Cambodia, like I mentioned earlier, regarding the KAQR systems and also the Cambodian security system, which is the CSS. For the association, I think they have a number of working groups on the cybersecurity, the anti-fraud working group, in order to monitor the scammings and other challenges posed by cybersecurity threat. For example, like the third-party risk, the AI enabling phishing, the online scam, data theft, ransomware infections, ATM scam, and so on. So all of these have been the focus of the anti-fraud working group, and also in the association, they also launched the Cybersecurity Day in order to raise awareness on what is the current landscape of cybersecurity and how can banks prepare for this attack as well. So technically, we look at 3 pillars. One is what we call the PPP. We look at the people and also the process and also the systems. So in terms of the systems, we look at how can we enhance the cybersecurity, how can we make the system better, how can we build trust among the people. But at the same time, the association, even our institution and the central bank, we also look at the aspect of the people. How can we make people more aware of the risk then affecting their transactions? And for that, I think the central bank and the association has introduced a number of initiatives in order to promote education, not just financial education, financial inclusion, but teaching people to understand the risks that they may get into in terms of cybersecurity. Those in the provinces who are vulnerable to the threat and so on, that's something they are doing. For example, like they launched what we call the self-funding project, teaching people to understand how to properly plan their finance, manage it, and how they can avoid being scammed by the others and the risk of over-indebtedness as well.
Yeah, it comes back to this theme of the cashless society. People have to learn, if it's easy to send money to anyone, maybe you shouldn't send money to everyone. So that's kind of a process that many countries are going through.
Thank you, David. I think it's a pleasure to share what Cambodia has done to the APABI member. And likewise, I look forward to the interview from the APABI member as well.